started off my career by doing something crazy. I got the Guinness Book of World Records twice for memory. So I thought the sky was going to open up and money was going to fall out, right? I mean, you can't get a better credential than a Guinness Book of Records. And I wanted to get a lot of publicity because I couldn't afford advertising. I didn't come from money or anything. It just was figuring it out as I went. So about a week after I broke the Guinness record, I was getting tons of publicity, and then it just all stopped. Nobody was interested in talking to me. And I thought, did I just get a Guinness record and train for a whole year in order to get a week's full of advertising? So something had to give. And that led me to come up with a way to kind of hack publicity that we now call story hacking at Farrow Communications. And it's something that you can do at home if you're an author or a creator or somebody who just wants to get some publicity. We recently discovered that we are able to outperform most publicists for authors by about a 2-to-1 margin. That is, we get almost double the amount of publicity for the same dollar that people spend. And of course, you can always talk to us at Farrow Communications if you want to find out, more customized approach. But here is the process, basically. What we do is we look for stories that the media is already trying to do something with. So right now, when it came to my topic of memory, we'll look on Google Trends for things going on in memory. Maybe AI is destroying people's memories. Certainly our smartphones are destroying people's memories. Or there's some new research with Alzheimer's, or kids returning after summer break are not performing as well. Any sort of thing that goes on, any trend that goes on with the brain, we find that story, we pitch the story, and then pitch our expert, in this case me, as the guest that can comment on the story. This is really, really key because a lot of PR companies are just going to feed your ego. And honestly, I only care about results. The key to our process is we put your ego aside. I'm not pitching me. When we pitch the clients, we're not pitching them. We're pitching the story that they know. And we're giving information and data to the journalists on that story. The result's pretty powerful, actually. In an apples-to-apples comparison between us and other publicists, we end up outperforming. We actually do about double the amount of publicity for the same dollar as another publicist does for authors. And this is the data that they actually publish. So I'm guessing that it's even better than some of the things that they keep a secret. And the reason for this makes a lot of sense. Journalists are under a lot of pressure right now to get hits. So if we go to Google Trends and we find out that somebody is searching for a particular topic, then we pitch that topic to the journalist. It is a match made in heaven. The journalist is much easier to get their work approved. It's much easier to get the client on the air. It's just much easier to get the media placement because we pitch the story that they're already looking for. And along the way, we do a little bit of research, give them some data so that they can have the proper data right in front of them, and they won't have anybody online criticizing their story for not having the right facts in it. Most PR companies, what they're going to do is they're going to essentially polish your bio, make you look great before presenting you to the media. And the general pitch is, hey, this person is really cool. They just wrote a book, or they're a thought leader. They're really cool. You have to interview them. They're really cool. That doesn't work as well anymore. Right now, a journalist is going to be scrutinized for every single thing that they do. And there are a ton of keyboard warriors that are going to point out anytime they make a mistake. So they can't just put you on the air and interview you and take everything you say at face value because they have to vet that information. The problem is we also have a situation where journalists are doing the job of 2 or 3 people, and they're overworked and underpaid, and they don't have time to vet you and check out all your credentials and stuff. So the result is that small creators and independent authors and people who are just starting out just get ignored by the media. I didn't like this. I didn't like it when it was happening to me when I was first starting out. Instead of polishing your bio and making you look great, of course you have to look great somewhat before you're going to get on television or whatever, but let's pull your ego aside and let's focus on the story. Let's find something on social media or Google Trends or something that is a trend that involves a demographic, which is like an age group or something like that, and a trend, something that's going on. So let's say that you are an expert in the opioid epidemic, and we find out that there's a specific demographic of veterans that are struggling with opioid issues. Well, now we can pitch the media about that issue, and we could say you are an expert that can comment on this very important issue. To pick a more general example, let's say you're a mental health expert, right? And we find that Gen Z is having a lot of mental health issues. They're struggling, but they're very open to change. We can do a story where you're the expert who is trying to help Gen Z get through the current crisis that they're in. It seems like there's a never-ending crisis for Gen Z when we're doing media pitches. So by pitching the story instead of the person, the journalist has some data that they know that story is going to get hits. If we go up to a journalist at Business Insider or CNN or any of the shows that I've been on, from the New York Times all the way to the Today Show down to any sort of podcast, if we go up to them and say, hey, put me on your show, I'm amazing, they'll be like, yeah, okay, I'll think about it. But if we say, hey, right now, this demographic is struggling with this issue, and I can talk to your audience about it, and by the way, your audience happens to be this demographic, right? Then all of a sudden, you have done their research for them, you've vetted the story, you've given them some information. We usually give footnotes in most of our pitches, and as a result, we tend to book our clients about twice as much as the average publicist for less money. So if you're an author, if you're trying to get media attention, put yourself in their shoes. What are they stressed out about? And the fact is, they're stressed out about finding a story that's trending, that's going to get hits. And also they're stressed out about finding guests that are vetted, that know their stuff. If you research it ahead of time and you have the data that you can show them, then you can show that not only is this story that you're talking about going to get hits, but it's also something that you are an expert on, and it will be vetted, and they won't get the keyboard warriors after them. So we call that process story hacking. We do it all the time for our clients. If you want the process for yourself, we have a free, no obligation consultation. You can go to farrowcommunications.com right here, farrowcommunications.com, and book a consultation with me or one of my staff to go over that for you. And if you want to just apply this to your own life, then go for it. Hope you like and subscribe if you want to know more tips about PR and marketing.